In this video, I'm going to show you how to take plain text and numbers, like these ones, and transform them into stunning infographics. We all know the importance of visual storytelling, and oftentimes, when we want to create a presentation, the only information in our disposals are a bunch of text and numbers on a sticky paper or buried in Word document. So how can you develop compelling infographics from text and numbers? What are the steps you can follow to generate visual metaphor for your slides? To answer these questions, I'll walk you through the creative methods I employ to generate visual concepts for the slides you saw a while ago. At the end, I'm confident that you will find this video to be an invaluable resource. With the techniques I'll share, you'll be able to develop impressive infographics that will take your storytelling to the next level. So, let's open PowerPoint and get started. A presentation is as good as the color choices and color combinations used. So, before we dive into the main section of this video, let's quickly set up a color palette. You can skip to the next section if you prefer different colors or you want to do it later. Since this presentation is centered around Iceland, it's only fitting to start with the iconic national colors of the country: deep blue, white, and red. We'll skip white because it's easily accessible from the colors window. On the Room tab, I'll click on Shapes and select Rectangle. Then I'll draw a square. Remove its outline. Head over to Shape Fill and click on More Fill Colors. Now let's hit Custom tab. Head all the way down to X-Fill and enter the color code for dark blue. Finally, just press OK. As this video isn't about color palette, I'll skip ahead to where all the colors are ready. Okay, here are the colors needed for this tutorial. Each box includes the color's name and Xcode. If you would like to use these exact colors, kindly pause the video and create your own palette. Now that color is out of the way, let's see how to transform this data into infographics. Let's begin with Economy Profile, Iceland. We'll create a new slide for this. It will serve as our title slide. I'll navigate to Slide pane, select an empty area and hit the Enter key to add a new slide. Next, we'll remove these placeholders. I want to use a scenic photo from Iceland as the slide background, so we need an image that encapsulates the essence of the country. And what could better represent a country if not its flag, its map, or a landscape? So I'll head over to Insert, tap on Pictures and choose this device. I've already downloaded a stunning image capturing a location in Iceland. I'll opt for this image and hit Insert. To my knowledge, this captivating snow-covered mountain is known as Vatna Volcano. Moving forward, let's ensure the photo fills the entire slide. I'll select Crop, stretch its handles and adjust the image to cover the slide completely. Our next steps involve inserting the map of Iceland and a title onto this image. To facilitate this, let's overlay the photo with a subtle transparent gradient. To begin, I'll open Shapes, tap on Rectangle and draw a shape to overlay the photo. This temporarily obscures the photo, but rest assured we'll rectify this shortly. Before we proceed though, let's go to Shape Outline and choose No Outline. Next up, I'll tap on Shape Fill and choose the eyedropper tool. Holding down the left mouse button, I'll use the eyedropper to select the indigo color from our color palette. Moving forward, I'll right-click on the rectangle and tap on Format Shape. Within that, I'll access the Fill section and opt for Gradient Fill. Let's begin by experimenting with transparency. Click on Solid Fill. Now head down to Transparency and raise the value to 10%. This seems satisfactory. The background photo rests subtly behind the rectangle. Let's explore another approach using a gradient. This will provide us with two choices to consider. To begin, let's duplicate the title slide and remove the existing rectangle. Then I'll move to Insert tab, choose Shapes and pick Rectangle. I'll proceed to draw a fresh rectangle over the image. Click on Shape Fill, then navigate to Gradient. Within Dark Variations, choose from Center. This adds a beautiful gradient that emanates from the center of the shape. Next, right-click the shape and pick Format Shape. This action should automatically take you to Gradient Fill. To begin, we'll modify the colors of the second and third gradient stubs to indigo. Afterward, click on the second stub and gently slide it towards the third stub. Following this, change the direction to top left. Now head over to Transparency and raise it to 8%. The vibrant green grass in the photo stands out even through the gradient. To balance this, I'll convert the image to black and white. First, I'll access the selection pane and hide the gradient. Then within Picture Format, I'll navigate to Color and select Blue-Gray. Once that is done, I'll reintroduce the gradient. Have you noticed the difference? It appears more aesthetically pleasing in this manner. Let's quickly run slideshow and compare the two alternatives. This is the initial overlay with transparency, and here we have the second option using gradient. Which do you prefer? The gradient, isn't it? Let's proceed with the gradient option. For the time being, we'll keep the transparent overlay as a backup in case we find a need for it later. I'll navigate to Insert tab, click on Pictures and choose this device. This time, I'll pick the map of Iceland. What's appealing about this image is that it includes the country's flag. I'll adjust its size and position it at the center left of the slide. Let's run slideshow for a closer look at the slide's details. This seems to be a solid arrangement. Now we'll introduce the title text, but before proceeding, I'll secure the gradient in place to prevent any disruption while adjusting other elements on the slide. To achieve this, simply right-click the gradient and click on Lock option. To create a space for the title text, we'll insert a new rectangle. Click on Shapes and pick Rectangle. Next, I'll draw a rectangle to the right of the map. Apply the same indigo fill color and remove its outline. Then right-click on the map and choose Bring to Front. Now, returning to the Shape menu, I'll click on Text Box. Following that, I'll input the title text, Global Gender Gap Report. Adjust the font color to white. Choose Verdana as the font and set the font size to 28 point. Lastly, I'll shift the text box to fit within the rectangle. At this point, we can consider this slide ready. However, it's worth noting that not everyone might readily identify the map and flag of Iceland. To address this, I'll include the phrase Iceland 2023 on the slide. Firstly, I'll duplicate the title text, modify its content and decrease its size to 20 points. Afterward, I'll position it at the bottom right corner of the slide. To ensure the text aligns with the rectangle, I'll make the necessary adjustment. Finally, let's run slideshow to see the final result. We've taken the word Iceland and represented it with a flag, a map, and a landscape. And that brings us to the first lesson for visual storytelling, and that is find visual alternatives for the words or text you are dealing with. For instance, if the word is love, you can symbolize it using a heart icon. If the word is thought or thinking, you can symbolize it with a cloud. Now let's progress and create an infographic for the ranking. According to the data, Iceland secures the first position among 145 countries. So, let's explore how we can visually depict this information. To start, let's insert a new blank slide. Next, navigate to slide 2, copy the gradient rectangle and paste it onto the new slide. However, to avoid potential issues, we should lock the rectangle. Now it's securely in place and can't be moved accidentally. Now proceed to Insert tab. Click on Shapes and choose Rectangle. Draw a vertical column and position it at the center. This column symbolizes the entirety of the 145 countries in the report. Our task is to devise a method to highlight Iceland's top ranking position. Let's begin by eliminating the shape's outline and changing its fill color to lavender, a color from our color palette. When it comes to infographics, the crux lies in conveying essential information. My idea is to introduce an additional rectangle on top of the existing one to emphasize Iceland's ranking. This new rectangle will have a distinct color, so let's create it together. Press and hold the Ctrl key, then click on the shape and drag to create a duplicate. Resize the duplicate and change its fill color to red using the eyedropper tool. Alright, let's proceed by moving it to the upper section of the vertical column. To give the rectangle a distinctive appearance, I'll curve its right side. Holding down the Ctrl key, I'll use the mouse scroll to zoom in. Next, let's right-click on the shape and select Edit Point. Then, I'll select the upper right point and pull it downwards. This adjustment seems to be okay. Next, I'll resize the vertical rectangle downwards to align it with a new shape. Observe how this minor adjustment makes a big difference. It looks good. Now we need an additional shape to accommodate the word first. Let's proceed with that. Duplicate the vertical column. Shift it to the right side of the slide. After resizing it, let's draw a circle and position it within the rectangle. My goal is to create a rounded edge on the left side of the rectangle. For this task, I'll press and hold the Shift key while clicking on the rectangle. This selects both the circle and the rectangle. Then I'll proceed to Mate Shapes option and choose Fragment. This action will result in the creation of fragment at every point where the two shapes intersected. Following that, I will separate the rectangle and delete the remaining fragment. Then remove its outline and restore back its red fill color. To align with the shapes on the left, I'll rotate the shape by selecting Rotate and choosing Flip Vertical. Then I'll shift it upwards to align it with the start of the vertical column. What remains for this slide is to include ranking at the bottom. Position first within the shape on the right and place Iceland 2023 on the left side of the slide. I'll speed up the video for this segment, allowing me to grab a glass of water during this time. Alright, here is what the final slide looks like. We've taken the data for ranking and transformed it to this infographic. How do you find this concept? Are there alternative methods you can think of for showcasing this ranking? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. And that brings us to the third and final data point. This one is quite interesting because how do you represent imparity and parity visually in a way that is self-descriptive? Well, let's find out. To begin, let's insert a new blank slide and duplicate the gradient background by copying and pasting it. With the background locked, navigate to Shapes and choose Rectangle. Let's draw a horizontal line across the center of the slide. Remove its outline and use the eyedropper from Shape Fill to select the color Plum from our predefined color palette. This line will serve as a visual representation of the gap or distance between imparity 0 and parity 1. To proceed, I'll navigate to slide 3, duplicate one of the text boxes, return to slide 4 and paste it in place. Then I'll substitute the existing text with a new one. I'll shift the text nearer to the line and adjust its font size to 20. Quickly, I'll append a 0 to the left side of the line. Upon looking at this infographic, you can see that 0 signifies imparity, yet our task is to show the connections between these values. How does 0 relate to 1 and the score of 0.912, which is for Iceland in 2023. One potential way to do this is by drawing a vertical line to denote the score for Iceland. However, since this imparity is between male and female genders, then it's logical to use a graphic that represents both genders. I'll head to Insert tab, click on Photos and choose two icons, one male and one female. After resizing the icons, I'll position them on the line to mark the gap. Alright, with the icons aligned, let's add the score beneath the female icon. I'll replicate this text box and modify the text to 0.908. Note that the accurate score for Iceland in 2023 is 0.912. In this recording, I had both the 2022 and 2023 reports open, leading to the confusion. Now let's duplicate the text box once more and insert the number 1 below the male icon. This truly captures the gap between female and male genders in Iceland. Speaking of Iceland, let's introduce another text box at the bottom to emphasize that this infographic relates to Iceland. I'll duplicate the text box from slide 2 and then position it at the bottom of this slide. I'm a big fan of clean and simple designs, and in my view, this infographic truly depicts the gender gap in a straightforward and comprehensive manner. To wrap up, we began with 3 sets of text, each depicting different sets of data. Subsequently, we transformed the first text, Iceland, into an exquisite title slide. Following that, we took the second set, ranking, and translated it into a visually engaging infographic. And lastly, we transformed the final data, Imparity and Parity, into a self-explanatory infographic. I trust this video has provided valuable insights. Kindly share it with your friends and colleagues. Your support contributes greatly to the growth of this channel. Remember to show your appreciation by liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a great day.